So I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to start closing up my design in the middle, and there are a couple things I need to do. First, I need to make sure I'm going to have enough yarn, or if I don't have enough yarn, I need to be sure that I'm okay with the color running out and adding more later. I really don't mind if I have a color change in the middle, so I'm going to stick with what I have, even though there isn't a whole lot. What I'm going to do, I've already woven on the back, and now I'm onto the side with the design in it. So I'm going to weave normally, and then when I get to this point, I'm going to pull my needle through, tuck it down, and then I'm going to do kind of like a little cheat. So I'm going to go behind and into my design. Right? Because this we won't see. It'll be on the inside of the pocket, so I can kind of weave anywhere. But what I do want to do is make sure that I try to keep my pattern as my weaving goes. So if I went over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, then I'm going to go over my first one, and under, over. And what I'm going to do by weaving this way is I'm going to close up this gap. There might be a little bit of a spot there, but that technique that I just showed you of weaving into your stitches, that's what we're going to be doing to close up the hole. And then I go back. Now I've gone around this one. And I'm actually going to weave into this row to lock it in place. Got lots of tails here. So you see how that weaving is starting to close in? I'll zoom in for you. Now it's getting very bright and hard to tell what's happening. So I'm down in this row, and I'm going to continue to weave, now making sure that I hold my pattern, so I'm not going to go under it again. I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, through that stitching, and pull, and keeping my pattern, going all the way across, not going two unders, right? If I need to pull my needle through, that's fine. So I go under, and then I'll go over this stitch so I can come back to go the other way. Always making sure that my weaving is connected to something, okay? Because we can't just leave this as a floating open space. It's going to be a hole. We don't want a hole. We want it to be a solid sided stitched woven pocket. So again, it's just going around and keeping that pattern. To close up my space. And the nice thing is I've got all these stitches in the middle that I can tuck into. So it'll be even and flat. And my dog is making jingly noises. Yeah, that's not distracting. It's fine. So again, under and then around and over. And through. And I want to do that until this hole gets closed up, and then I'll show you how to attach. Nice thing is when you have a pocket like this in the middle, you can kind of just continue to weave normally once you get to the top, because it'll continue in a line as long as you get your stitches in the right way. So under, over, around, and through, and pull. And see how it's filling in that gap. Again, I like to pull before I get to the end of my row, just to help with my needle not getting tangled with the string. Keeping my pattern. And if you get stuck like this, don't yank it. Just kind of wiggle it, because you do not want to break a warp string. That means that you're going to have to make some serious repairs in your weaving. So we're up another row now. We're up another row now, which means that when we get to this side, we're going to be even with the stitch. And if you remember, we need to go to the next side or the next level to connect our stitches. And it makes a nice closure patch for that hole. Now, same thing on this side. I'm even with that stitch. So if I'm going under, then I'll go over, under, around, and through to continue my pattern work. Okay. Keeping that pattern consistent. There's a cat in the house. Meow. Making sure to tuck into either side. Gotta keep it all connected. Over, under, through, and back around to keep the pattern going. Let's see how it's filling in. I like to think of it as when you start, your cup is empty, and when you finish, your cup is filled up, because it kind of looks like a bowl or a cup with that different color. And what we're doing is we're patching it and connecting it like it was always there. And as long as you're keeping your pattern over and under, or under and over, you are going to be good to go. So I'm running out of yarn, but I should be able to get to the top. Except I didn't connect my stitch. Gotta go around and connect to continue. Gentle pull and wiggle, not trying to break any strings. All right, I need to tie a little more on. Of course, I tied a tight knot, so it takes a minute or two to get untied. But I think I'll keep with my pattern and work with gray. just enough to close up that gap. Okay, so I went under, then I'll need to go over into my new row. And this is a little bit thicker string, so I need to be mindful of that. But it shouldn't affect anything other than the look of the yarn. Still going to be nice and strong and even as long as I'm paying attention and watching what I'm doing. So under means to go over. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Alright, just about closed up this gap. I think probably one more row. And this is a good time if you want to tuck in that extra yarn. You can weave right over it. Otherwise, we can cut it later once it's all said and done. But we are getting to a point where we're going to actually start moving back to our regular flat style weaving. Just like that. So I like to pull the tails up, then I can cut them later. But I've got this nice transition back to my regular weaving, so that's what I'm going to do. If I was under, then I'll go over, under, over, pull through. And that is how you finish your design patch.